Don't let the back to school season and what your children are eating set back your nutrition goals. Green Chef is making it so easy to stick to your healthy eating habits with a new, more flexible menu featuring more than 35 customizable recipe options every week. New options include doubling your portion of protein or veggies, or swapping to plant-based protein like maybe tofu. Or are you dairy-free, gluten-free, vegetarian, or vegan? Green Chef has more than 15 recipes every week to support those lifestyles and so much more. You will also find over 15 weekly recipes that are ready in just 25 minutes or less. So you've got the power to tailor the menu to meet your needs, satisfying and nourishing everybody in your family in just about 30 minutes. This is my kind of plan. You get to stick to your clean routine all day long with grab-and-go breakfast and snack options like protein-packed egg bites, plant-based protein shakes, and nut butter bites. And Green Chef's quality whole foods with limited processed ingredients contribute to a healthy lifestyle. And you know I am all about that. So go to greenchef.com/over50class for 50% off your first box. 50 free credits with ClassPass. That is code over50class at greenchef.com/over50class to get 50% off your first box plus 50 free ClassPass credits. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. I love fall and just the ability to wrap up and get cozy. And not only do I like to do it in my clothing, but also my home decor. Accent throw pillows, throws on the couch. Jenni Kayne Home is your place to go if you are looking to spruce up your home and make it just a luxurious little comfort palace. From their bedroom linens and classic iconic furniture to the cutest pillows and throws, not to mention the most incredible scented candles, Jenni Kayne Home will help you curate a space that you will enjoy and everybody will absolutely envy. They have such incredible interior design taste that you don't even have to worry or think about it. Every purchase is a no-brainer. Jenni Kayne Home has everything you need to transform your space into a luxurious sanctuary. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code Dominique15 at checkout. That's 15% off your first order, JENNIKAYNE.com, promo code Dominique15. Curate your dream home with Jenni Kayne. Dry skin, deeper wrinkles, crepiness. Oh, the joys of crepiness. These are just a few of the visible signs of aging, something that today's sponsor, OneSkin, knows all about. I personally want to keep my skin healthy as I get older, and that's why I love their topical supplements. They actually help your skin feel and behave younger as you age. OneSkin Topical Face, Eye, Body, and Shield can all be used alone or with other products that you have and can easily fit into your current skincare routine. I also love their travel size products as well. It makes it so easy when you're on the go and there's not a lot of mixing and blending. Just simple. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off by using code OVER50 at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code OVER50. After your purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. This is Be My Guest.
It is. We haven't done this in so long.
So long.
I don't know if we've done it this year.
Probably not. In fact, the last time we did it was in the high rise in Houston.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Craziness. We are long overdue for a Be My Guest. And apparently you told me a lot of people called in and left voicemails.
Yes. No, everyone called in. We posted on social media yesterday on your story for people to call in and ask a question. And we are flooded with questions.
Wow. Okay. I'm excited to see what everybody's asking.
Yeah. So we can get right into it.
Okay.
Let's see. Here's the first one.
I love that you can play it out loud and then the mic picks it up. So that way the woman who, and I assume they're all women.
Yep.
Safe assumption.
I think so. We'll find out together. At
this point, I think everybody's figured out this is a show for chicks. But I think it's neat that she gets to hear herself on the podcast.
Yeah.
And we do it that way instead of paraphrasing.
100%. Yeah. And always, I mean, when they type in questions, sometimes we can get through those a bit quicker, but I think this is more like direct.
Intimate.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. Okay, first question. Keep in mind, we haven't listened to these yet.
I haven't. So,
No,
I mean,
I've like very, very briefly skimmed. So here we go.
What's coming my way? Woo! Buckle your seatbelts. It's going to be a wild ride.
Hey, Dominique, this is Daniel Harper from Branson, Missouri. Prior to starting KPRC, what jobs have you done after KPRC?
Oh, okay. So after well, yeah. I mean, I think most people know after KPRC, it was full-time YouTube content creation podcasting.
Yeah, because I mean, you were at KPRC for 28
years. Yeah. Honestly, I think the more interesting story is what took place before KPRC.
Yeah, tell us about it.
To be honest with you, when yes, I mean, everybody knows I left KPRC and then I did content creation full-time, and then the Merritt Street opportunity came. So now I do both. But before that, I think a lot of people are surprised to find out that I was a disc jockey for a couple of years at KHMX in Houston, which was an adult contemporary station, 70s, 80s, 90s. So I learned really broadcasting skills, I would say, by being a disc jockey, which was probably the best thing for me to tee me up as a broadcaster in general, because as a DJ, and now it's so funny, the young kids today, when you say DJ, they think you're behind the table, mixing.
That's all I think.
I know. See what I'm saying? Everybody thinks that you're a DJ, kind of doing the woo, woo, and mixing your songs.
I would love to see you do that too.
Well, I probably could, in fact. I actually learned and watched a disc jockey in Houston who was doing it with turntables, and you would it was so neat because you would have the stylist on the record, and then you would have to back it up a quarter turn on the table. So the DJ would talk, and then when he was done talking, he would release the record and it would spin and it would start the song at the perfect time. Wild. I know you can't even wrap your head around what I just said, but for those of us who grew up in the 70s and 80s, you're like, oh, I get that.
Like, this was the first podcast era.
Yeah, exactly. This was the first sort of DJ era and spinning it with records and all of that. But we didn't have records. Everything was on cart. So they would dub it from vinyl to a cart, and I would have a stack of carts.
What do you mean cart?
Okay, so
so everyone's probably like, move on. We know what you're talking about.
I know. Okay, think of an 8-track.
Okay.
Before a cassette.
Like a cassette.
Before a cassette, it was an 8-track. So it looked like an 8-track, and it was a cart, and it had it just had one song loaded on the cart. Okay. So they would dub it basically from vinyl onto cart, and I would have a stack of carts that would be my playlist for the entire hour. And here's the other thing too. People always thought that the viewers would call in and the viewers decided what song got played where. No. It was all done via music director who literally programmed out the entire hour after hour after hour of what song would play. But you would talk to viewers on air and you would record your conversations with them. And then you would ask, hey, what song would you like to hear? And they would say, oh, well, I want to hear Mark Cohn, Walking on Memphis. And when you had Mark Cohn, Walking on Memphis lined up, you would then play that soundbite of the viewer. And it sounded like you were playing people's songs immediately when they asked for it.
How interesting.
A little inside trickery there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, isn't it fun?
Yeah. And then you also, because I remember when we did years ago at this point, your Life and Looks YouTube video. Yeah. Didn't you did some modeling and some hand modeling?
I did.
That's what I'd love to discover.
Random. I know. These days I got way too many veins for that. But yeah, I did. I was with a local modeling and talent agency in Houston. So when I started in radio, and even before that as a traffic reporter, I would fill in my time and my income with any kind of gig I could get. So I got booked a lot for industrial and corporate videos. And some of my favorites were, it was like at a refinery, and I'm hosting the video and I'm in my hard hat and my goggles.
Wait, I don't think that one made the video.
Honestly, looking my absolute best. But yeah, when you're 20 something and fresh out of college, you'll do whatever you have to do to, get those bills paid and get rent.
I fully get it.
I know you get it.
Not far off from that life.
Hey, you're doing great.
Okay, next question. Let's see.
Hi, Dominique. My name's Lori McBride. I'm 65 years old, and I've been looking in the mirror lately, and I just get so depressed. My skin is so wrinkled around the jowls. I have the marionette lines. I have this big, giant turkey neck here, and I'd like to get something done, but I don't know what. I've had, the injections here and there, nothing big. But is it worth it to have like a modified facelift, something from like the nose down? What do you recommend? Have any tips for me? It's making me feel so old. Please help.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. I know that's got to be frustrating looking in the mirror and not liking what you see, looking back at you. And that's, a part of aging. And I will say that every woman's walk is her own unique walk. She's asking a very specific question about what to do. And I will tell her that, and she's already doing, it sounds like, injectables and kind of minor stuff. The things that she's talking about, no injectable, no laser will fix. Yeah. There is nothing that can remedy sagging skin, especially the turkey neck or those lines or any jowling. There's nothing that can fix that like a full-on lower neck lift or a full-on facelift. I mean, that's just the truth. And that's not me telling her what to do. That's just me knowing, based on having friends like Dr. Fred Aguilar, who's a plastic surgeon and in the business, and we featured him for Botox and more of that minimal type procedure. But he will be the first to say, there's only so much I can do with all of that. And there comes a point where you have to make that personal decision. Is it worth it to you financially, health risk, going through anesthesia, all of those things? Is it worth it? And if you decide yes, then you will get that kind of result that you're looking for. I would say to her, do your homework. Make sure if you do decide to go that route, make sure that the doctor is a part of the American Society of Plastic Surgery, is fully vetted, and also talk to a lot of different practitioners and get their perspective and opinion. And then ultimately you make the decision. Yeah. You decide, is it in your budget? Is it something that you want for yourself? Or do you want to try more micro steps and see how far you can go? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. And also I feel like once, from everything I'm seeing on my side at my age, it's like doing all these things to be preventative. And so, to not stop aging, just slow it down and have it be more progressive and whatnot. And so I feel like if you're already to the point, I don't know how much like any product is going to help.
Product won't
reverse, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it won't. And I mean, again, you can do some amazing things with Botox to change kind of the look and the shape of the face minimalistically. I mean, within reason, but there is something about gravity and sagging skin, and that's it. I mean, it's the loss of elasticity, it's a loss of collagen and elastin. And once that goes, there's really not much you can do. I mean, some lasers will help to tighten, but it's only so far. And here's the thing too, a laser isn't a one-time treatment. You got to do it and then do it again. And sometimes it's every 6 months, every years. And if you add up the cost of doing that and you amortize that over 5 or 10 years, you may as well have done the facelift. Yeah. So again, weigh your options, do the math, and figure out what's best for you.
Yeah. Okay. Next question.
Hi, Dominique. I just saw your Instagram post. My name's Lisa. I am turning 59. I'm divorced. I've been divorced for 16 years and have only done online dating a couple of times. Both times were painful. I just wanted to know how you would recommend meeting somebody at this stage of my life. I would love to share my life with somebody, but I'm not desperate. I don't want to put a ton of work into it. I'd always hoped it would happen organically, and maybe I have to boost that likelihood. I don't know, but just wanted your thoughts on that. I know you're recently married, and wanted to know how you met your husband or how you would suggest meeting somebody at this stage in our lives. Anyway, that's it. Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. That's such a good question. The first thing I would say to her is watch our podcast with Lori Gerber. Yeah. Okay. I mean, that right there, because this is such a big subject for women in this demographic. That's why we do these relationship and dating podcasts. And she is a relationship expert. She's got PDF after PDF of things to download, go through, checklist. I mean, I've never seen anything more thorough in my entire life.
You got it down to a science.
It is a science. And, and this lovely lady may say, well, I don't want it to be a science. I want it to be just natural. And that can happen. And that's how it happened for me. I mean, it was a purely organic experience and moment of an old friend coming back into my life. It's not to say those things can't happen, but they are rare. And you have to put yourself out there. That's what Lori would say. Put yourself out there on all. First of all, she would say, get out. So you have to make yourself available, which means.
Yeah, no, her one tip going off of that, what you're saying, because she said she wants it to be organic. And I remember her one tip, Lori's tip being, you know, I'm not opposed to not using dating apps if you can get one date a week without using a dating app.
Right.
So if you can't achieve that, which is fine. I mean, so many people are busy. You don't have time just to go out and about to meet people, whatever. But if you can't achieve that, then maybe consider, getting on an app. It's a complete time saver, honestly.
And speaking from somebody who I would say is quite the professional in that area, which is why I'm so glad you're here to talk about that aspect of it, because that's important. You know, it can't be, it's unfortunate these days. And a lot of people work out of the house, and a lot of people who are older, maybe she's looking for somebody in our demographic. You know, it's just hard to meet people out and about. And you know, from Evan Mark Katz, who we've had on the podcast, to Lori Gerber, all of these dating coaches and experts have all said the very same thing. Sorry, but you got to go where the people are. Yeah. And you may have some bum experiences, and I know you can relate to that clearly. But I would encourage her just to be out everywhere. Just do anything to increase your odds.
Yeah, and I another thing that I can't remember if it was Lori or Evan, because I'm the same way. I don't want this to be a science. Everyone would love to bump into someone at the grocery store, right? But it's maybe not likely. But they said, you know, take every opportunity that you step out of your house. Look around, look up, because I mean, myself included, everyone's like this. Look up, look at people and see what happens. And I know for me, like if I'm going to the grocery store, I'm going to be a bum. I'm wearing, you know, leggings and a baseball cap and not caring. And not that you have to care every single time, but maybe, you know, after work one day when you're still all dressed up or whatever, go to the grocery store, go to a park, go sit at a bar by yourself. You know, all those little things that's like, just take every opportunity as I can meet somebody.
Right. And you know, and I will add to this too, be an initiator. Meaning not just show up, but don't be afraid to be the first one to approach. And my mother was the queen of this. My mother was the queen. She would sit at a bar, you know, sit at a restaurant, whatever. And if she saw somebody interesting, she would start the conversation. Gotta love Audrey. Gotta love Audrey. So don't wait is the moral of the story. I mean, you can initiate. It's hard.
And scary.
But you know what? I mean, yes, but okay, what do you have to lose? I mean, think back, you know, Vic and I are old friends from our 20s. So think back to people you knew back then. Everybody's on Facebook. Everybody's on social. Message somebody. Just say, hey, I was thinking about you. It's been so long. Just wondering how you're doing. You don't know where they are in their personal life. You don't know if they're divorced, if they're in the same situation as you. So also reach out and try to connect with people too, who maybe you've had a connection with and you're wondering, I wonder how they're doing.
So what would you say my counterpoint of that, which I feel like maybe a lot of other women are thinking? Because my thought when I go out and everyone's like, go talk to him, go whatever. My immediate thought is, you know, if he wanted to talk to me, he can come up and talk to me.
Well, but what if he's shy? What if he's not sure? Well, you don't know. What do you have to lose by walking up to him and saying, hey, you know, I don't know your situation. You could be married and this could be the funniest moment ever, but I'm noticing you from across the room and you just are really intriguing me. What do you have to lose by initiating that conversation? He could say, well, thank you. I'm really flattered. You know, my girlfriend would have to agree with you, or, you know, my wife would, you know,
I think I would just
what's wrong?
Melt out of.
Why?
I would feel so rejected.
Why?
I don't know. And I know I shouldn't. And in theory, this all sounds great. I just never find myself in these situations. I will stare across the room until someone comes and talks to me. And it's worked. Yeah. Maybe it probably could have, you know, worked a million more times if I went up to somebody.
But you don't know. That's the thing.
No, you have no idea. But I think it's the fear of not knowing.
Well,
you know what I mean?
What do we say about fear on this podcast and in this channel? Yeah. Fear never leads to anything good.
Yeah.
I mean, what
I know.
By putting yourself out there, you're not being rejected.
Yeah.
That man is not rejecting you. He is just identifying the status of his personal life. But that's not a rejection of you. That's how it's being internalized. But that's not what it is. So you have to see it for what it is. He's just saying, I'm not in that space to be interested or engaged with you. You may be beautiful. You may be lovely. That's just not where I am. But that's not a rejection of you. See, you just
fair.
Not to
perspective.
Exactly. Perspective. So try. That's my point. Try.
Yeah,
out
try.
there. Out. Try. Do things. Be bold. Be courageous.
You know what? You're right.
Be ballsy.
You're
Court.
right.
Do it.
Embrace the bold, beautiful, and
Blessed you. Thank you. Hello. You're wearing the shirt.
Okay, on that note, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with more questions.
Yes. Thanks to our sponsors for making this channel free for everybody. We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Don't let the back to school season and what your children are eating set back your nutrition goals. Green Chef is making it so easy to stick to your healthy eating habits with a new, more flexible menu featuring more than 35 customizable recipe options every week. New options include doubling your portion of protein or veggies, or swapping to plant-based protein like maybe tofu. Or are you dairy-free, gluten-free, vegetarian, or vegan? Green Chef has more than 15 recipes every week to support those lifestyles and so much more. You will also find over 15 weekly recipes that are ready in just 25 minutes or less. So you've got the power to tailor the menu to meet your needs, satisfying and nourishing everybody in your family in just about 30 minutes. This is my kind of plan. You get to stick to your clean routine all day long with grab-and-go breakfast and snack options like protein-packed egg bites, plant-based protein shakes, and nut butter bites. And Green Chef's quality whole foods with limited processed ingredients contribute to a healthy lifestyle. And you know I am all about that. So go to greenchef.com/over50class for 50% off your first box. 50 free credits with ClassPass. That is code over50class at greenchef.com/over50class to get 50% off your first box plus 50 free ClassPass credits. Green Chef, the #1 meal kit for eating well. Hey, oh yeah.
Do you want to welcome back? So
bring us back. Why don't you? You brought us into commercial break. Come on, girl. You got this.
Oh, welcome back to my podcast. Our guest today is Dominique Sachse.
It's been hijacked. The young people are taking over.
Okay. If you're just joining us, we are answering your questions today.
Yeah, be my guest is what we call this. So we've threw out on my social media a telephone number for everybody to call.
Yeah.
Leave a voicemail and ask questions, and we are playing back those questions.
Yeah. So if you're not following, make sure you follow her on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all the places to
all the things.
Keep up with fun things like this.
Exactly.
All right.
Because we want to have you included.
Yes. Next question.
Hi, this is Heather Hampton. First of all, I want to say thank you for all the great content and episodes. I really enjoy watching. My question is, I am 49. I eat healthy. I exercise. I do all the things. But I am noticing my energy level is going down. So I force myself to do these things on a daily basis, but I notice my energy is just not what it used to be. Any great tips or ideas on what I can do to maintain or get that energy back? Thanks again. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye.
Thanks, Heather. Yeah, good question. I noticed that too in my 40s. When she said her age and then started talking about health, I thought, oh, perimenopause. Here we go. So I don't know where she is in that journey, but most likely in the perimenopause stage. And that, my dear Heather, is one of the lovely side effects of your hormones plummeting and leaving your body in warp speed. I mean, that's estrogen going, and that fatigue is so real. And it could also be a thyroid change as well. So I don't know where she is in her physical journey in terms of doctors and medicine and what she's looked into, but that's the time to get a full blood panel. That's the time to have a full-on conversation with your doctor. If you can find somebody who specializes in menopause, I would go that route, especially knowing her age. Yeah. They know the things to look for, because lack of energy is one of the biggest symptoms. And of course, that comes with sleep deprivation, and it comes with a whole host of side effects. But that fatigue is awful. And, energy, I mean, when we were young, like your age, you're bathing in it. I mean, you are absolutely bathing in estrogen. So you have energy, and you have, hydrated skin, and you have, all the things that we lose at this age. So go see your doctor, go see somebody who specializes in menopausal care, because I mean, she's right there. And it could be a few tweaks. It could be even check testosterone levels. That's another thing. But they've got to do a full blood panel at this point. And that's something that I encourage every woman starting in mid-40s to do. And in fact, we had the wonderful lady from Perry, the Perry app.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okafor Crane is her last name. So, and she would even say, you know, this is the time to start getting those tests and having those conversations. And a lot of women in their 40s think, well, I'm too young for that. That's not my journey yet. You know, I should not have a period. I should be postmenopausal. No, you know, nip it in the bud early and get in there and make sure it's not something else.
Yeah. Especially if you're feeling that way and you have symptoms. But I think even the first step is just like talking to people, even just hearing it from you to be like, no, that's normal. Like, welcome to perimenopause. You know what I mean? Because I feel like if you you know, don't suffer in silence, you know?
What's the point? And I would have her check out the Perry app as well. What's neat is that there are conversation rooms where, to your point, a lot of women talk about, well, I feel this and I feel that. And what about you? So first of all, you don't feel alone. And secondly, you hear another woman's journey and maybe she has some words of wisdom and a few nuggets to throw out that might help you in your walk. So that sense of community at that age is really big.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, next question.
Hi, Dominique. This is Kay calling from Dublin, Ohio. I have a question. I'm so glad you're doing this because I was wondering about this. Did your mom ever get the opportunity to meet your current husband? I was just wondering what she thought of him if she did. And thank you very much. And I will look forward to listening to your podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you. That's such a great question. My mom did not. My mother would have loved my husband.
She really would.
Oh my God. I mean, you can attest to that because you know Vic and you knew my mother. My mom passed away in July of last year of 2023, and Vic came into my life in August. My mother, literally, Court, had a thing for Italian singers. When I tell you her favorite men on this planet were Italian singers. And literally when a month after my mother passes, an Italian singer shows up in my life, if that wasn't a shout out from Audrey above saying, hey, baby, you know, here he is.
On a silver platter for you.
And he's mama approved.
Yes.
Seriously, she would have eaten him up. And I tell Vic this all the time, that my biggest regret is that you and my mom didn't get a chance to have a relationship, because she would have been, honey, sing to me.
Honey, 100%.
Honey, sing me this, sing me that. Oh, play me this, because he plays the piano. Play this for me. And she just would have swooned over
she
him.
Absolutely would have.
Absolutely. And just his humor and his personality and his sweetness. And I mean, she would have eaten him up. So I at least have that peace in the knowledge of that. Even though they never got to meet, it's so funny. I can actually play out in my mind the conversations that they would have. And I could see how she would react to him when he would say or do something. And it makes me absolutely melt. Yeah. So I have peace in that, even 100%. Though I never got to see it play out.
No, I completely agree with that. They would have had a hoot. I feel like there's no other word. They just would have, they would have been such a time together. Yes. I can picture your mom like calling Vic more than she's calling you.
Yes. I would have lost my mother to him. Really? She's like the son I never had.
But I'm glad she asked that. I've seen a lot of people ask that question.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you can answer that.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Okay. Next question.
Yes.
Hey, Dominique. I was wondering if you have any regrets in life, and what are you looking forward to the most in your new future?
Wow. That's a hard question to answer, because my mantra is no regrets. No regrets. Everything happens for a reason. I will say that one thing that Vic and I talk about a lot, because, okay, this is a good answer to that question. Because we knew each other, I was in my early 20s. He was in his mid to late 20s, because we're 5 years apart. Is you sometimes play out that what if we had gotten together back then? What if we had established a relationship? You know, we would have had all this time together that we didn't have. We would have had children together that we didn't have. So sometimes your mind goes there. It's like, it's so good. It's so sweet now. Imagine if we had more of that. Do you know what I'm saying? But I can't say that's a regret because everything needed to happen the way it did.
Just going to say that, like, imagine the person you were when you met him and probably the person that he was, obviously over the course of 20 plus years, that you're going to change as a person and grow and evolve. And so, I mean, we say it all the time that everything happens for a reason. And so it's, there was a reason that it had to play out this way.
Correct.
100%.
And I say to him too, and as much as I love, all moms love being moms, but it's when you're doing parenthood with somebody, it puts a strain on the marriage. There's a time when it's, all child and very child centric. And I say to him, we didn't have to go through any of those stresses. Yeah. We didn't have to go through what a lot of people go through that can kind of put a wedge.
Yeah, make or break.
Make or break, or just what I would call that slow drifting apart, where you don't even see it happening until it's happened. And then you're like, what happened to my marriage? What happened to my relationship? So we came together at a time when we just had each other. I mean, my son's an adult. He's in college. I'm always mom to him, but it's not the day to day. Yeah. It's different.
And even with kids, I mean, life in general, like with careers and finances and you know what I mean? It's like you both have worked so hard to reach this point in your life where you can just enjoy each other.
Right.
You don't,
And that kind of further answers her question because, so there's no regret, but sometimes you do the what if thing or what, Vic and I will say, well, what if we had kids together? What would they be like? What would they look like? Their talents or this or that. Would they be doing what we do? Would we have another singer or a broadcaster or whatever? Yeah. Who knows? But moving forward, I think what I most look forward to is the ability to enjoy life with him and do life with him and have moments and have fun or just be, just be around the house. And we just are dorks. I mean, we just like each other. We like each other's company. We like hanging and doing nothing. We can make an event out of doing nothing. Yeah. And that's a great time.
It is a great time.
So I look forward to more of that.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question.
Hey, Dominique, my question for you is when you get your hair done, cut, how often do you have it cut? And is it always a new hairstyle or just trimmed up? Thank you, ma'am. Look forward to hearing your answer.
Well, you always have a new hairstyle. People say yes.
Yeah, I know, but I feel like I've kind of been locked into a look for the longest that I ever have.
But you do?
I do mix it up a little.
Yes, even I think mostly with your styling.
Yes.
You'll change your part, you'll slick it back, you'll do half up. Correct. You play around with the style more, I feel, now than the cut and the color.
I agree with you. I because I do need that creativity. But it's funny, when she asked that question, how often do you get a cut? My first thought was, well, by Cerrone or by me?
I thought the same thing.
We know.
Like, if Cerrone was here to kick your butt.
He already did. In fact, the last time I saw him, he's like, oh, so we put layers in, I see. Like, we did. I said we wanted very texturized layers. So we went in. I love how the we is really me.
Absolutely. I was feeling a little change that day.
I just was feeling it. Here's the problem with me is that I see pictures on Pinterest or Instagram or wherever, and I'm like, I need that and I need it now. And the problem is that I have enough of a skill set to kind of get myself there, which is a good and bad thing. So I last time I went in, and after he joked, with the, I see we wanted some layers, he kind of came in and cleaned it up because, it wasn't fully balanced and evened out everywhere. So he helped me with that.
Okay. I'm sensing a tutorial, how to do your at-home easy haircut.
Well, Cerrone laughs. He's like, please post another haircutting video. He said, because I can't even tell you how many women showed up in my salon with tears in their eyes and ball caps on because they thought they could do it like you and they totally butchered their hair. He's like, you're great for business. I'm like, you're welcome.
Because you can't tell people that you cut your hair and then not show them how.
I know. That's the problem. But the thing is like, I can show them how, but not everybody will have the same technique, That's the thing. You may go in a little more aggressively than I did.
That's fair. Have you ever had a mishap with cutting your hair? Like,
sure.
I see people at home try to cut bangs.
Yeah,
and it's
the bang thing is horrible. I always go very conservatively on bangs. Yeah. And then if I feel like I'm not getting it, I stop and then I go into the professional.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, I don't try to solve. My mom, I would get on her because she was one of those people who would do her bangs, but she would do the straight across bangs. I'm like, no, Mom, you can't do that. It's not the straight across. It's got to be sort of a curtain and it's got to blend in and feather. And she would have suddenly the short little, the bar, just a little bar above the eyebrows. I'm like, okay, well, we'll fix that.
I'm sure she looked so cute like that, though.
Yeah, she did. I mean, she made everything a look.
All right, next question.
Hello, Dominique. Hello, Courtney. This is Christine Laura from Virginia. I want to know how was Courtney's date. You mentioned from your podcast today, Monday, that she went on a date. And also, I would like for you to let us know how to cultivate deep, meaningful friendships in midlife. I am, for some reason, having trouble relating to people that are a little bit different from me. So if you could discuss that today. Thanks. Bye.
Okay, regarding your date, my first question was, well, which dude are we talking about?
Okay. Chill out.
Well, hey, no, because, okay, do you remember which guy that was?
Well, that podcast was filmed so long ago.
Oh, okay, my point
That
exactly.
one was.
So we've lost track.
Yeah, if it's the one I'm thinking of, I mean, honestly, anyone doesn't know these days. Again, the same thing that I mentioned on Lori's first podcast, it's just no one is
checking all the boxes.
Yeah, and like in all ways.
Head, the heart, and the hoo-ha,
yes,
as she says.
And in all ways. And like really above all, I think it's more so like the head. Like my mind, I go on these dates and they're just so boring. And I think one thing that a lot of women need to like understand, and it took me a second because I kept going on dates like, I don't know, a year ago or so, and I was having so much fun. And then I heard someone else say, and I was like, and ever since I heard this, I think it like really hurt me. They were like, I go on dates and have fun because I'm a fun person and I'm always going to have fun. No matter what I'm doing, I'm going to have fun. It's going to be a good time. We're going to have conversation, whatever. So they're like, the next time you go on a date, see how much fun would it be without you there? And then I've just started realizing that everyone...
You're carrying the show.
Yeah, and again, and I'm super aware. I'm a yapper. I'm a talker. I'll talk your ear off. That's fine. But I'm sitting there asking you a million questions, and they're not even minimally being reciprocated.
Right.
And the thing is, I'd also be open to being like, okay, maybe they just, they're not interested. They don't like me. But then after the date, they'll text me like, had a great time. I'd love to see you again. I want to take you out again. And I'm like,
okay,
well, I'm glad you had fun because I didn't.
Here's my question to you. Have you ever said to them, okay, so you know a lot about me. I mean, I'm sorry. So I know a lot about you, but what would you like to know about me? Have you ever stopped them mid-track and said, what would you like to know about me? What would you like to ask me?
I haven't. And that... I could say that. I think in my head it's just kind of like, well, if they wanted to, they would. But I don't know, because then I also think about like Lori's advice of like, you can't judge someone from the first date. And maybe people are nervous to go on first dates. For me, I feel like, again, I could talk to a tree for hours, like wouldn't have a problem. And some people aren't like that.
And maybe they feel like, well, she enjoys talking, so I'm going to give her the space to talk.
But not even that it's just me talking. It's me like teeing up them to talk.
And
like, tell me about this, asking about that, digging. They say one thing. Oh, tell me more about that. How does that work? Well, like just being interested in their lives. And I'm like, minimally just ask that back,
Yeah.
So I don't know. And it's not to say that everyone's just been like terrible. And I say everyone as if I've gone on like 1,000 dates, nothing like that. But just the people that I've been seeing or talking to, it's just boring. It's so boring. And not that I am this like exciting, crazy person, but again, I'll sit there and tell you about me or my childhood or where I'm from or my family or my job or you know what I mean? It's just like things that I'm excited to talk about and they're just dull. And I've tried video chatting before, I've tried calling before and even it seems like a good time and then
you've just hit a dud patch.
Yeah, it's just not. So I don't know.
But I'd put them on the spot on date one, and I would say, I've done a lot of talking. I've done a lot of asking questions. I feel like I'm getting to know you, but I don't feel like you've really gotten to know me.
Yeah.
So do you want to get to know me?
Yeah.
And if so, what would you like to know?
Yeah.
Because
No,
I'm
that's
an
fair.
open book, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
That's very fair.
I'd put it on them.
Yeah.
I would stop. Like once you've gotten your fill and you don't see that they're taking the time, flip the script.
Yeah.
And make them ask you, and then also see what type of questions they ask.
Yeah. No, that's
You will learn a lot about somebody by what they ask you.
Yeah, no, 100%. And also just to fill everyone in real quick on my dating history is that this is the longest time in my adult life that I've ever been single.
That's true.
So that's why it's like, it's really fine. But I had a 4-year relationship all throughout college, and then I moved to Houston, and then I had another 4-year relationship that ended almost 2 years ago. So I'm really okay. If I find someone now, then great.
Yeah.
But really, I am enjoying being single, and my time that I've had so far being single, like life has been crazy, work has been crazy.
Yes.
So it's really, really okay. But yeah, and I feel like now I'm finally starting to come to the point where it's like, maybe someone would be nice. Where before it was just like fun and dating and whatever. And now it's kind of like, okay, I think maybe we should take this a bit more seriously.
Okay. See, so maybe you're in a different space.
And
because
that's what
of that,
I think.
I think some different things might start coming.
Yeah. So that, or even like, before dates that I was going on, because I wasn't taking it as seriously, I was like, yay, this is fun. This is whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I knew I wasn't looking for something, and I, like, I communicated that with them, and, but now it's kind of like,
Do you think your criteria will change at all now that you're in maybe a little bit of a different space, that you'll be looking for potentially a different type of a person, or are there other things that might factor in? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I still think my criteria is the same as far as like, again, just needed to
tall, dark, and handsome. 6'4".
This girl's gonna get me in trouble. pray none of them find this podcast. No, I mean, outside of even looks, I just want someone to be slightly on the same level as me, like career wise, money wise. Again, you don't need to make millions. I don't need someone that's rich. Just like have your bills paid and like have your own place.
Exactly.
Really like
just
have a
be
car.
solid.
Yeah. Like be able to live your life and call it a day, So those criteria will remain the same, because that's for anyone that I'm, whatever. So
I just love that everybody's intrigued about your dating life.
Hey, listen, anyone wants to be my mother-in-law.
So yes, any of you ladies, if you have an eligible son who might be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, please message Courtney on Instagram, okay? Please. There, it's out there. Did she have another part to that question?
She did, for you about midlife friendships. And
yes.
how to cultivate them.
Oh, okay. So what I would say is this, and she probably knows that Holly and I became friends not that long ago, and that's a midlife relationship.
Yeah.
And I think with all of the women that I've met in this stage in life and have connected to, I think you really have to kind of strip past the barriers and get to what matters quickly. Because there's one thing about midlife, we ain't got a lot of time, right? Nobody's got 20 years to cultivate a friendship. You figure out pretty quickly. It's like with a guy, you figure out pretty quickly. No one's wasting time. Yep. So get in there and talk about real meaningful things and be vulnerable out the gate. Don't hide stuff. Don't hold back, because I think when you start peeling away the layers, it opens up somebody else to peel away the layers, and you can find out very quickly, are you sharing things in common? Thoughts, feelings, experiences. Where is your common ground? And then she mentioned too, she's struggling because she finds people that she's not so similar with. You know what I would say to that? That makes life a little more interesting. Yeah. We don't have to be like everybody. We don't have to think the same way, do the same things. We can have our own walks and experiences that can be vastly different, but we can kind of fire on all cylinders on some other key issues. And then it's like, okay, I can appreciate your different perspective. I can appreciate your different outlook on things. Maybe I'll learn something from that, or maybe we can agree to disagree civilly, which we've really lost, civil discourse in this country. And I think everybody feels like, well, I've got to like you on all fronts in order to be friends with you. Yeah. And that wasn't the case.
No.
So
I totally agree.
I just say open up your mind and be willing to be vulnerable. And that's how you get there quickly.
Yeah. And also you can use the apps for friends as well.
Oh, that's right. The dating apps for friends.
I met my best friend. She's actually going to be here on Thursday to come visit me up in Dallas. And Yeah, I don't underestimate the apps. And if you're willing to put yourself out there, you can go on a date with another girl and
and find out if you're a friend match.
and yes, and be friends. It's a whole part of Bumble that's called Bumble BFF.
I love that.
Or even they have Facebook groups. I like when we moved up here, I joined like newbies in Dallas, girlies of Dallas.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, we're going to go on girl walks in Dallas, like all this kind of stuff. And I just joined all these different groups I haven't had time so far, but I actually just did my first introductory post on one. And I was like, hey, this is me and blah, 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 blah. So a couple of different girls, we're all planning on getting together soon. So
thanks for sharing that, because it's the same thing. For finding guys, it's hard to find women.
Yeah. And sometimes it seems like awkward. I remember the first time we did it, I was like, I'm going on a date with a friend, a potential friend. You know what I mean? Like it's so. But I will say it is better in groups. I found if you can, like, if you swipe or get on one of these Facebook groups or something, try to get like 3 or 4 of you together, because your odds are better that one of you guys are gonna click, and then it's just like less awkward versus like a one-on-one.
Right.
But, yeah.
That's great.
Or even if you have like if you're into like knitting, or if you're really into like a TV show, you can like join different communities that you guys all like surround yourself with, you know?
Perfect.
Just join a Dominique fan club. You'll have something in common.
Great.
Okay, let's take the next question.
Okay. These have been great so far.
Hi, Dominique. Greetings from Boston.
Greetings.
This is Donna Gulcasion, author of the book, Dose of Donna, Inspiring Lessons from Everyday Life. I would love to know your best practices around social media platforms as I navigate this world of marketing my book. And is there any possibility you could share Courtney with me? Thank you so much for your response. And if you send me your mailing address, I shall send you a signed copy of my book.
Oh,
thanks.
That's so sweet.
Well, that right there was a good marketing strategy.
I know. Fantastic. Well played. See, now you're on the podcast. So good job. Yay, you. I think that's awesome. Marketing, we learned a lot about marketing Life Makeover.
Yeah.
Whew, it's it's a wild ride. It's one thing writing and publishing a book, but the marketing of that book is a whole other job. It's a full-time job that you and I launched into big time.
So many things to check off. And as soon as you think it's all done, it's like pre-launch, and then during launch, and then post-launch, and this interview and that interview, and we're going to do this live thing. And signings.
I mean, we did Talk Shop Live. We did all different. We did YouTube Live. We did
multiple
signings. We had I had my TV agent, my TV news agent connect me. So they had me on Extra and a lot of different news outlets for publicity. So a lot of people will hire a publicist for those types of media, press, junkets, things like that.
Yeah.
But it's a lot, and for those who can't go that route, or, don't have a big enough name or whatever, you have to use your social platforms. You have to do your own networking, as you well know. A lot of people send kind of influencer kits. So they'll send books, they'll send like packages to influencers to try to get on their podcasts or get mentions. But I mean, it's a full on, and it can be expensive launch to get yourself out there.
Yeah, no, I would say my biggest advice, especially if you can't hire someone, just minimally you have to be an active member of social media to understand social media.
Correct.
And I think, make sure, even if you're like, I don't care about TikTok, whatever, if you want people to watch your TikToks, you need to watch other people's TikToks to understand what they're doing, how they're marketing it. Like, look up your favorite authors and what are they doing on social media? What are they, you know what I mean? And so, obviously you want to stay in your own lane. There is a certain look and feel, and even like timing to everything. So really, if you just look at other people, I think that will at least put you on a right track, or look at other authors that just published a book.
What are they doing?
Yes. What are they doing? Where are they at? What are they posting? How often are they posting? Are they on every platform? I mean, there's so many. We do a whole podcast just on.
Oh my gosh. And we actually did a podcast on being an author and writing a book that came out, maybe a month ago, 5 weeks ago, something like that. So then there are a lot of people who are interested in doing those things. So you should listen to that if you feel like you've got a book in you. But no, she can't have you to answer her. Sorry. I need her full time. But I'm glad you love her.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break.
Yes.
And we'll be right back with more questions.
Be my guest. I love fall and just the ability to wrap up and get cozy. And not only do I like to do it in my clothing, but also my home decor. Accent throw pillows, throws on the couch. Jenny Kane Home is your place to go if you are looking to spruce up your home and make it just a luxurious little comfort palace. From their bedroom linens and classic iconic furniture to the cutest pillows and throws, not to mention the most incredible scented candles, Jenny Kane Home will help you curate a space that you will enjoy and everybody will absolutely envy. They have such incredible interior design taste that you don't even have to worry or think about it. Every purchase is a no-brainer. Jenny Kane Home has everything you need to transform your space into a luxurious sanctuary. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use code Dominique15 at checkout. That's 15% off your first order, JENNIKAYNE.com, promo code Dominique15. Curate your dream home with Jenny Kane. Dry skin, deeper wrinkles, crepiness. Oh, the joys of crepiness. These are just a few of the visible signs of aging, something that today's sponsor, OneSkin, knows all about. I personally want to keep my skin healthy as I get older, and that's why I love their topical supplements. They actually help your skin feel and behave younger as you age. OneSkin Topical Face, Eye, Body, and Shield can all be used alone or with other products that you have and can easily fit into your current skincare routine. I also love their travel size products as well. It makes it so easy when you're on the go and there's not a lot of mixing and blending. Just simple. OneSkin is the world's first skin longevity company. By focusing on the cellular aspects of aging, OneSkin keeps your skin looking and acting younger for longer. Get started today with 15% off by using code OVER50 at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code OVER50. After your purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
And you do your own podcast.
I kind of like putting it to you.
Welcome back to Over 50 and Flourishing and Under 50 and Flourishing.
That's right. I am so excited for you because when you hit this age,
oh my gosh,
you are going to be so teed up to know what to do. I mean, a whiz. You are going to master midlife.
I'm telling you. Fun fact. So, and obviously, I've worked with you for 4 years, but when I started working with you, if you guys know Dr. Susan and Barbie Taylor, Menopause Taylor, they were also my clients. So I got hit in the face
with menopause.
With everything that was menopause and over 50 and hormones, and was editing Barbie's YouTube videos and then started editing yours. And then all of a sudden Susan went, oh my, it was insane. Menopause 101
Menopause
just threw up all over me. So yes, I do believe that I will be. Sometimes in conversations with my mom, I'll tell her certain things and she's like,
how do you know that?
I'm like, telling you,
You're helping your mother.
Paid attention.
Good job.
Okay, we are answering your questions via voicemail and we'll get into the next one.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Al, and my question is, what do you do about crepey skin? In my 50s, starting to notice crepey skin on my arms, a little bit on my legs. What can you do besides surgery? Are there any treatments, lotions, potions, anything? Thank you.
Yeah.
Lotions and potions.
Lotions and potions. Lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. Crepey skin is for real. I mean, I get it. I get it on the inside of my arms. I get it above my knees. And it's, again, skin elasticity, but it's mild. So you can actually do some stuff. I use my Nira laser. I will use it on those areas because it helps to tighten and to build collagen, but you have to do it diligently. You have to do it a lot. I mean, there are creams that claim to help with crepiness. Crepiness is really pronounced when the skin is dry and we lose estrogen in midlife. So our skin gets really dry. So that we notice that kind of it's that crepe-like texture, right? So it looks dry. So any type of emollient, super emollient moisturizer always helps with the appearance, but it's not going to help with the firmness. There are some creams. There's one by Olay that I like that has collagen in it. So creams with collagen can help and it says the appearance of, but it doesn't get rid of it. Nothing will get rid of it. So if you do lasers for skin tightening, it will most certainly help. You can use these products to help, but look, it's just going to happen.
It's part of it.
It's just a part of it. So
Yeah.
just, stay hydrated. Dry brushing is good for circulation. I'm trying to think if there's any, but again, then sometimes you got to go into those, big lasers where it really burns the skin, or, can tie the Morpheus. I mean, there are different types out there. But again, nothing lasts forever.
Yeah.
So get pretty shirts or dresses with some nice sleeves, and that's it. Or be proud of it and rock it. It's like, hey, I'm getting older and it's okay.
Yeah.
I'm still going to wear tank tops even if I have crepey biceps. It is what it is.
All right, next question.
Hi, Dominique. It's Betty Cursual. How are you? My question for you is if you're going to come to our 40th class reunion. Hope you're doing well. Love watching you on Instagram, and send you all the best. Take care.
I just replied on her Facebook post. That is
gosh.
wild. Yeah, they're actually organizing Memorial High School class of 85's reunion, and they just did a poll. Do people want it in January or February of next year? So I'm like, either any of those dates, end of January, early mid-February. That's going to be wild.
You're going to go?
Of course I'm going.
Oh, I love it.
Of course I'm going.
Can you vlog it?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, it'd be so fun.
It's so wild. So wild. I mean, I'm close with Marisa and Mary Jane and Crystal. They were my best friends from high school, and I still keep in touch with them. And I know Marisa and Mary Jane will be there. I hope Crystal can. She lives in San Miguel. But yeah, so that's wild that she just called in and left that message. Do you love it? Yeah. And in fact, do you remember the vlog that I did when I was leaving Houston, when I announced that I was coming up to Merritt, and I kind of vlogged everywhere I grew up in Houston, and I was in front of Memorial High School. She actually reposted that video to the Memorial High School reunion page. And she said, if you guys haven't seen, Dominique moved from Houston to Dallas, but it was kind of a trip down memory lane because all of those places that I featured
I'm sure.
are places where a lot of these people, they went to Memorial City Mall, they went to Memorial High School. So I thought that was really neat. So thank you for posting
so cool.
That is.
I love that. Okay, next question.
Hi, Dominique and Courtney. It's Kerry. I'm calling from Australia. I just wanted to ask Dominique, Courtney is so amazing, and you guys just seem like the dream team. I just wanted to ask what it was in the application that made you realize that she was going to be so great, and any tips for hiring staff for business owners, from your experience, what you've learned. Would be greatly appreciated, and maybe the mistakes or the pitfalls to look out for. Thanks, now. Bye.
Australia.
I love that.
How cool.
Well, Courtney kind of fell into my lap, basically. I mean, you were assigned to me, when I was married to Nick. I mean, he had a digital marketing firm, and I was one of his clients. And you were hired, and you were basically put on my. You were put to me. It's like, here she is.
They just assigned everyone just different clients, and day one they're like, oh yeah, Dominique Sachse. We did meet during the interview process.
Yes.
There was like a short Zoom meeting.
Yeah, I remember that. But
you couldn't
quick.
really, there was nothing really that you could have, which I think on that one, I remember being so nervous because I looked at your platforms, obviously you had a large following. And thank goodness I looked, because then you asked me right in the interview, you're like, so what would you do differently about my socials right now? And I was like, is this a trick question? Like, is she going to be like, no, we're not doing anything different. I had no idea. Also, not being from Houston, I wasn't familiar with you. Obviously, I'm not, in the age demographic, anything. Yeah. And so I remember I was like, I think you're putting out great content on YouTube, and that's not reflected on any of your social platforms outside of, like, I don't know why you're not posting videos to these platforms. And this is like, and again, this was 4 years ago. So it was kind of when video was becoming more popular on social. And then I remember seeing your face being like, okay. And then long story short, I got the job. And then, day one, they're like, okay, remember Dominique that you spoke to, that she's going to be your client? Here are keys to the kingdom. Go. I'm like,
go is right.
What?
Go. I mean, I would say from the get-go, I immediately noticed how smart you were, inquisitive, intuitive. So you had all the right things there, and you were learning me, And I was learning this side of the business and understanding it, trying to get a grasp of it. I mean, I was doing my own social media prior to that. And I thought I was doing an okay job.
Absolutely.
I mean, it was okay,
Yeah.
but I didn't know the guts of it. You know, that's where you came in. So there was this immediate reciprocal collaborative effort. And just in terms of temperament and personality, we just melded really, really, really well. And it was great. And then you left.
I gave her a heads up.
And then I didn't have you.
And then you poached me again.
Yes. And then we had time apart, and then we came back together and were able to come back in a very different way.
Yeah.
In the best way, which I just love. And I'm so grateful for you.
Yeah.
So, okay. But I think you can even help answer, we both can help answer her question about finding somebody. I think you have to ask the tough questions at first. I think you have to challenge people to see, you know, if they don't have the answers, are they going to try to come up with the answers? Have they done research, right? Do they have enough knowledge to even be able to answer? And then I love the fact if somebody says, you know what, I can't answer that question now, but I'm going to look into that and I will get back to you with an answer. So that tells me honesty, but it also tells me I'm willing to go research and figure this out.
It's so funny that you're saying that, because the team that I hired at Merritt Street, the one woman on my team, she's fairly new, graduated college, and I just literally had this conversation with her because she was going to have to be joining more calls and with higher up people, and she's like, I'm so nervous to be on these calls. And I was like, honestly, no, if you go into them confident, and it's okay if you don't know every answer. Right. You can say, that's a really good point we should look into. Let me get back with you. I'll circle back around. I'm like, as long as you're calm, cool, and collective, you're going to have so much more respect versus if you're just stumbling over like a fake answer.
Yes. Or acting like you know everything.
100%.
I don't know everything. I'm 57. You don't know everything. You're 29. Yeah. I mean, we're not going to, you know?
Never. I would say between that, I always look for proven success. Like, show me some numbers, numbers don't lie. That's like my number one thing is like, you can say you've done the best work in the world, but if, you know, for social media, if you still like are 300 followers, you've been working on it for years, that's not like growth. Proven success, you know? It's proven success. And then for me in my line of work, I always do some sort of project in the interview process of, hey, you know, this is like what you have to deal with. Show me kind of what post you would make or what kind of video you'd make out of this. Or even for my interview when I first got hired on with the agency, they had me do a project. And I think there's no other way that you're going to see someone's work, even if they have the best portfolio in the world. If you give a project with a tight deadline turnaround time just to see what they can do in that short amount of time, I think there's no other way.
Yeah. And I will add to that too, trust your gut and intuition. Yes. If something feels off about that person, if it doesn't seem right, there's a reason for that. Don't try to make something work, because generally when you try to make something work, it's not going to work.
100%.
You're going to see that point of weakness come out sooner or later.
100%.
And then you're in another position.
Yes. And I think even to piggyback off of that, I personally would rather, because now I've managed 2 different teams now at this point in my career. I would wholeheartedly rather take the person that has minimal experience but has the best attitude and that is so coachable and likable and that they will take direction.
Correct.
Versus the person that has 10 years of experience.
And the tude.
Yes. I'm like,
don't bring the tude.
Oh my gosh. Because really who you end up working with, especially, I mean, for this woman, if it's a capacity like this where it is some sort of like entrepreneurship, small business, whatever, like you're going to see this person more than you see your family.
That's right.
Like you're going to talk to them more than you talk to your family. And you have to have this level of trust. You know what I mean? And so it's just like, you have to like each other.
Yeah. And you also have to know when to let go. And that's the other thing too, that people as employers have a hard time doing. You've got to let go and delegate and let that person either step up or let them fail. Yeah. And if they fail, it's a learning lesson. Yep. And if there are continued failures, then maybe it's not a good fit, but you don't know until you let go. That's the worst thing that I see employers do is they bring somebody on, but they still do all the work and they don't give them that opportunity to grow. And now you're paying somebody and you're still exhausted and frustrated. So what are you doing?
I'll never forget. I think it was my first couple of weeks of working for you with the agency. And at that time, my responsibilities for you were so minimal. And I believe it was the vlog where you took your mom to Sarone's to get her hair done.
Yes.
and you had it done early because that was an appointment and everything. So my only job was to get it on YouTube, scheduled, all the things, whatever. And I'll never forget that you called me on a Wednesday. And again, this is when we were so new, like fresh to each other. And you probably forgot, but it's so ingrained in my mind because I was mortified. And you called me and you're like, hey, and you were so sweet. And you could have just yelled at me. And you're like, I'm getting comments about my mom's hair. But is that posted? Because again, the videos goes live Thursdays. And I totally messed up and I set it for Wednesday at 1 p.m. versus Thursday at 1 p.m. And then you were like, okay, we'll just tell people we were so excited we did it a day early.
Mm-hmm.
And you really could have chewed me out. I was chewing myself out, but I promised you, but that sincerely is the only way that you're going to learn because since that day, never done it ever again. Never happened. I have to triple check everything. That was such a big learning lesson for me. But that's just like one example of like let people make mistakes because they will learn from them.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's like being a parent to a child.
Yeah. Honestly.
Thanks,
Mom. Okay, next question. We're going to fly through these next ones.
Okay.
There's like only a few left.
Okay.
Yes, I'm calling about your hair and how Cerrone does it. What is the process that he uses? I'm trying to cover my grays, and my hair looks like it might be about the same color as yours. I was just curious if he just only highlights or if he puts the color on and then highlights over the top of it. Thank you.
Great question, and I'm happy to answer that. And I think probably one reason why I've stayed this color for as long as I have is that my roots are changing and they are no longer the color they used to be. So I've got a lot more gray coming in. And what Cerrone does is he will stitch in the blonde, and he'll do it with foils, and he'll do a high lift. So I don't know what volume bleach he's using, but it's not a volume 10, maybe it's a 20, but it's a high lift blonde. And then he just allows it to process full on, until it's not yellow anymore. And then he will do like a purple shampoo or a little bit of a toner on it. And that's it. And then they do just a tiny, tiny root smudge in the bowl to sort of blend it so you don't see that really hard blonde at the root. So they kind of pick a color and smudge it that would be similar to what my root color would be, but it's not a full on root coverage. And so I guess this is what I like about being light is that I don't have hair color on my scalp all the time, which is what I would face with the gray that's coming in. If if let's say, because I know a lot of people say to me, oh, I wish you were dark brown or I wish you were auburn. And sometimes I think, oh, that'd be fun to go do that again. But you know what that would mean for me now? That would mean root touch-ups every 2 weeks. So I would have to literally at home have whatever color we've chosen for the root, and I would have to paint it on every 2 weeks because the cameras, especially at Merit, they will pick up everything. Those lights pick up any little gray, any little sparkler that's coming in.
Sparkler.
It's like, oh, my sparklers. Little sparklers. So I think that's what's kept me from it. And I like the fact that I don't have hair color on my root. So it's healthier that way. And the other upside is that I go 6 to 8 weeks between hair coloring because I can go that long. And my gray and my blonde, it's like, is it gray? Is it blonde? Can't quite tell. Yeah. So it's a good color. It blends really, really well.
Yeah.
So that's why I do what I do.
Perfect. Let's see. All right. Next question.
Hi, Dominic. My name is Alina, and I'm a huge fan of you. I truly appreciate all what you do. Absolutely love your YouTube videos and podcasts. The question that I have is, nevertheless, the income that you make, what percentage of it has to go toward retirement funds? And what are the few best options to invest into it? Thank you.
Boy, that's a good question.
Yeah.
You know what podcast she needs to listen to? The one that I did with Derek Kinney.
I was just thinking that.
It was a podcast dedicated to finances for people in midlife.
Yeah.
We can reference that, put a link to it.
Yeah, we'll put it in the description.
Such a good podcast about money. I will say this. When I worked at KPRC, I took advantage, and I started there in my mid-20s. So I took advantage of the 401k, and I did matching 401k. And my company had a pension.
Mm-hmm.
So after 10 years, I was fully vested in that pension. I was with KPRC for 28 years.
Yeah.
So, and that's very rare
Yeah.
for companies these days to offer pensions like they do. And then I had that 401k that I was contributing to. So all of that grew. So those were my funds and my investments. And I really didn't do anything else on the side besides that because I had it through the corporation. And then when I started working at Merit, I did the same thing. I'm fully vested in the 401k, doing the matching contributions. But there are other funds to look into for people. Look at 401ks. They do target retirement funds. So let's say you plan on retiring in 2035. It will then allocate a certain amount of stocks to bonds based on risk, based on performance and what you need, let's say within the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
There are funds to look into for tax purposes as well. IRAs, different. I would talk to a tax accountant. Yeah. Honestly, I would talk to a specialist, somebody who does investing, somebody who does taxes to help you with that and kind of set up a target fund for when you plan on retiring. You know, that's what honestly concerns me more than anything for the younger generation, for you guys, big time.
Yeah.
Is your future, because you're not going to have Social Security. I don't see how the government is going to have Social Security when you retire at 67, 70, whatever age they even set it at by then. So this generation has to save its own money and be diligent about it, or else you become a ward to the state.
Yeah.
You know, and that means everybody else is paying for everybody to be able to live. I mean, it's a recipe for disaster if people don't set aside money that they need for their future.
Yeah. I agree.
Are you listening?
Yeah. Very, very scaredly.
Okay.
Yes.
Set aside money.
Yes. Next question.
I wanted to call and leave a question for you. I don't know if there's a specific subject I'm supposed to be questioning on, but the question I have, I'm 63, and I've noticed here recently that I'm having a lot of memories and regrets of memories, things I've done in the past, things I've said in the past, decisions I've made. I'm going back 20, 30 years and feeling a sense of regret. And it's hard to turn that around into a positive view looking forward. And I guess I could use some help with that. And I don't know if that's a common issue or not, but that's the dilemma I'm facing right now, is how to turn that around into a futuristic sense of thought with a positive twist. Thank you, Dominic. Bye-bye.
Wow. Tony, bringing it.
Yeah.
What a great question.
I was fully prepared for that to
go south quick.
Some way. But no, that is a great question.
That's a great question. Well, first of all, Tony, I don't want you to have regrets. And the first thing I will say to you is that God doesn't want us to have regret. He does not want us to live in that space. You know, he says, come to him and ask for forgiveness for whatever it is that you are feeling regret about, and you are immediately forgiven. So you have to grant yourself grace. You know, if your Heavenly Father will forgive the minute you ask for forgiveness, you have to let go and forgive yourself for the wrongs in the past. We are human. We are flawed. We make mistakes. We've all done things in the past that we regret. We have made poor decisions. We have said things that we wish we could take back.
Yeah.
There are so many do-overs, right, that we wish we could do that we just can't. But a lot of people carry that burden, and they carry that guilt and that shame, and they're absolutely sidelined by it, and they can't let go, and they can't forgive themselves. So I just encourage Tony to maybe explore his spiritual walk and his walk with God, because I really think that will help him heal. It sounds like he needs healing, and anybody who's carrying a lot of regret and pain needs some healing. Another way to heal is maybe revisit, if you can, some of those people and situations and offer an apology. Offer an expression of, you know what I said or did back then was wrong, was hurtful, and I'm carrying the burden of that. And I want to release that for not only you, but for me too.
Yeah.
I want to release that. So I think that there are many doors that we can go through and we can release ourselves of that. And I would seriously explore that. You know, there have been instances where I've done that in my past, and I have expressed regret over things, and I have asked for forgiveness for things that I have either said or done. And it was such a release for me and such a healer for that relationship. So we have a lot of power, and we don't realize that we do.
Yeah. And what I think is really cool too, I mean, a lot of people say a lot of bad things about the world today, and I totally understand. But I think a cool part, a thing that's happening today is that people are learning and growing and evolving, and, you know, things that maybe you said once, you're realizing now, like, that's not okay to say anymore. It's not okay to act that way, whatever it may be. And so I just think, you know, if people aren't learning, growing, and then forgiving, then what, you know what I mean? It's like, what else is there to do than except to, you know, someone to hopefully accept your forgiveness, and hopefully you forgive yourself and move on.
Right.
Because again, like, I don't know. I just think there's so many things like that, like instances where it's like, oh, well, back in the day that used to be cool, or that used to be okay, or that used to, you know, whatever. And if you're not realizing that it's not, or it's hurtful, or whatever the case may be, then great, let's all learn and grow together. Like that, I don't know. I try to see it as such a positive thing.
Sure. And I understand when you, and I'm putting myself, I'm thinking, okay, I'm a man in my 60s. You know, what am I regretting? What burdens and what pain might I be carrying that's weighing heavily on me? Maybe it's how he was as a father. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or how he maybe was as a husband, or how he was as a friend, or as an employee or a boss. You know, you put yourself in these different situations, and where we may have said or done things where relationships could have gone wrong, or where we could see ourselves as failures.
Yeah.
And how can we make good on that? And, you know, and I understand that, you know, if you feel like you've let yourself down or let others down that you genuinely love and care about, that's a big burden to shoulder. And I think you have to let that go, because you don't want to take that to the grave. You just don't. And there could be an opportunity to repair relationships.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, you don't know what you're missing out on until you seek forgiveness, you know, and heal from it.
Yeah. Or even give that other person the opportunity. They may like be carrying this
The
weight
same
heavy
thing
too.
too.
You know what I mean? And so it's like, you go and apologize. Maybe the relationship isn't 100%, but maybe they've been carrying around this heaviness. You've been carrying this around. And just by saying that to them, it's just something lifted for the both of you.
Or it could be a regret of, you know what, I should have taken that job, or I maybe should have married that person.
So many different things.
And the other thing too is you got to get yourself out of the should haves. There are no do-overs.
Yeah.
You know, we don't get to go back and erase the chalkboard and rewrite that, but we do get to write moving forward.
Yeah.
You know, that script gets to be written by God, by us working together. So how do we want to write that script moving forward?
Yeah.
And that's where the beauty lies.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Way to go, Tony.
Good
Bring
job,
in the
Tony.
question.
First male
ever.
Be my guest. I was going to say on Over 50 and Flourishing, but we've had plenty of male guests.
True. So we're going to end it with Tony. Congratulations. What a really profound question. And it's time for us to button up, because the lawn crew is here and I see a leaf blower dude outside the window. So we don't want all that sound getting in, but I'm so grateful to hear your voices. It touches me. And the fact that you took the time to call in and to ask your questions means the world. And they were such good questions. And you know, I hope that I was able to share some information and content, and Courtney and I, just in our banter and what we shared with you, for there to be a takeaway, and, you know, maybe something new that you learned, or something new about me you didn't know, or Courtney. And again, it's just that sense of community, camaraderie, and connectedness that I really love and appreciate. So thank you for being my guest on this edition of Over 50 and Flourishing. We will continue to do these types of episodes, because I feel like every time we do, I get such a wide array of questions that it gives me different content and things to talk about that I had never really considered before. So I greatly appreciate that. I can't wait to see you next Monday on Over 50 and Flourishing right here on YouTube, if this is where you are watching. Please subscribe to this channel so you get notified when a podcast comes out. Please feel free to leave a question or a comment below of what you either thought about today's episode. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Comment if you have a question for us or something that you'd like to see in future episodes. And again, if you are maybe listening on Apple or Spotify, we always ask for you to rate, review, subscribe, and share to grow the podcast, to grow the community, make us bigger, make us better, make us more bad bleep, and we will continue to work for you because this content is all about you and where you are in this beautiful midlife space. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week.